as the two massive doors slowly opened once again. The gate stood dozens of meters tall, forged entirely from dark golden metal, their surfaces densely carved with countless runes. Now as they slowly parted, they released a deep muffled rumble. Two figures gradually emerged from within. Moen Campbell was bound by vines and suspended in midair. The formal suit that had previously been blasted into scraps had somehow been restored to perfect condition, sitting neatly and sharply on his body. Professor Grant stood off to the side, his expression complicated and subtle. Outside the gate, more than a dozen elderly professors, including Professor Grant, stood silently on both sides of the path. Those respected old men, who were usually so dignified and prestigious, all had their heads lowered at this moment, like students who had made a mistake. Their white hair glimmered silver under the moonlight, and their aged faces were filled with respect and guilt. The moment they saw the young girl step out, the professors, usually so arrogant and proud, all lowered their heads together. The movement was perfectly synchronized, as if they had rehearsed it countless times. "Mentor Mela Demir," the professors said respectfully, their voices full of awe along with a trace of excitement they could not conceal. The white-haired, red-eyed girl gave a slight nod as she looked at them. A touch of emotion appeared on her delicate little face. "It's been decades since we last met. You've all grown so old." Her gaze swept across every aged face, before finally landing on one upright old man. "Dudley, the last time I saw you, you were still able to keep your back perfectly straight, weren't you?" Her voice carried a hint of teasing and a hint of nostalgia. Moen was still bound by vines, suspended in the air by a force of magic. The suit that had been blown to pieces had also returned to its original state. He struggled for a moment, only to realize he could not move at all. All he could do was helplessly listen, as these old professors treated a little girl with the utmost reverence. Mela Demir. Such a familiar name. Why does it feel like I've heard it somewhere before? He frowned and thought hard, but no matter what, he just couldn't remember. To be able to see you alive with my own eyes, mentor, is the greatest honor. Professor Grant was actually wiping away tears. That aged face of his was full of childlike emotion. His eyes were red, and tears slid down along his wrinkles, revealing a childlike sense of being moved. At a reunion like this, don't say such discouraging things. The girl waved her hand, her tone carrying a trace of helplessness. Looking at the academy, which was still trembling from the aftershocks of battle. The entire place was shaking, cracks spreading across the walls like spider webs, while rubble kept falling from above. The girl spoke softly. A trace of gravity flashed through those red eyes. This time, being awakened was indeed beyond my expectations. According to my previous calculations, I should have awakened 5 years from now. A hint of confusion colored her voice. "It is our incompetence. We failed to protect the academy." All the professors lowered their heads in shame. Those aged heads drooped low, like eggplants struck by frost. "It's not your fault. I only just realized it myself." The girl raised her head and looked toward the sky. In those red eyes was reflected that strange blue moon. A touch of seriousness surfaced in her voice. "Fate has deviated so greatly without anyone noticing. The moon, which originally had no intersection at all with the academy's path, actually crashed directly into the academy instead." Her voice was filled with confusion, and with a deep wariness. Even Grant, who was usually so unserious, wore a grave expression in front of the girl. The face that normally carried a sly smile was now tense, his brows heavy with solemnity. "We don't know the details either. Prang seems to know something, but because of a pact of silence, he can't reveal it freely." His voice was low and cautious. "It's fine." The girl waved her hand, and a touch of calm appeared on her delicate face. "I'll know the exact situation once I go see him. You should all go handle your own affairs. Or go get some rest early. Don't ruin your health at your age." Her voice carried a trace of concern along with unquestionable authority. "Yes." The professors lowered their heads respectfully, and stepped aside to open a path. Their movements were neat and swift, as if they were children being lectured by their parents, not daring to show the slightest disobedience. Just as they were preparing to leave, Grant looked at my miserable state, and instantly revealed a gloating grin. That aged face of his was full of smugness. It was a good thing he had the foresight. Or the one ending up like this right now might have been him. He held back his laughter, his shoulders trembling slightly. But the instant he was about to suppress that smile, my cold gaze locked onto him. Then I roared in fury. "Boss! Just now, Professor Grant called you his niece." My voice was filled with the joy of revenge. Professor Grant's smile froze instantly. That aged face of his stiffened on the spot, as if he had been hit with a paralysis spell. He slowly turned his head, and then he saw the girl silently watching him. Those red eyes were filled with deep, meaningful intent. That expression was so suggestive, just like the one he had used earlier when facing Moen. Cold sweat instantly broke out on Grant's forehead. His whole body felt like it had fallen into an ice cellar, under the ghostly blue moonlight. That moonlight was crimson and eerie, dyeing the entire land into a sea of blood red. The ground had already been stained red with blood. That blood gathered into shallow pools among the ruins, reflecting a strange red glow. Prang's right hand trembled. That withered hand was shaking violently. His fingers spasmed, unable to grasp the staff, lying so close at hand. The staff lay on the ground less than a foot away from him, and yet it felt as though a heavenly chasm lay between them. Professor Prang's face was deathly pale. That wrinkle-covered face had no trace of blood in it, pale as paper. The wound in his abdomen was still constantly bleeding, dyeing his robe a deep brown. His entire body was pinned to the wall by the holy sword, unable to move. The wound in his abdomen was horrifying to look at. Blood ran down his robes and dripped onto the ground. He opened his mouth with difficulty, his voice hoarse and weak. His whole body was already at the very edge. What mattered more was that he was already on the verge of total exhaustion. And this exhaustion did not refer to his magic. With the Great Secret Rite supplying him, his magic was nearly endless. But controlling the Great Secret Rite, while casting spells as well, had pushed his mind to the brink of collapse. It felt as though thousands of needles were stabbing into his brain at the same time. Even now his head throbbed with sharp pain. Every thought came with tearing agony. The Holy Maiden of Purification was not in much better shape. Her pure white wings were shattered. Those feathers that had once been sacred and flawless were now torn and ragged. Feathers lay scattered all over the ground, stained with blood. That breathtakingly beautiful face was full of pain. Her brows were tightly knit, and her red lips were slightly parted. Her entire body was covered in bloody wounds from the battle. That fair and proud body was now covered with cracks like shattered porcelain. Those cracks extended from her cheeks to her neck, from her neck to her chest, from her chest to her limbs, like a porcelain doll on the verge of breaking apart. Her nightgown was torn, exposing Daipian fair skin. The fullness of her chest was faintly visible beneath the shredded fabric. That deep cleavage stained with blood only made her look all the more tragically beautiful. Her two long, beautiful legs were covered in wounds, yet they still maintained their perfect curves. Suddenly 3 eyes burst out from the Holy Maiden's back. Those 3 eyes drilled out from her shoulder blades. The blood-red eyeballs turned restlessly, filled with evil and greed. Damn it! The compatibility is too low. Can't you even deal with someone who hasn't reached the level of a crowned one? A hoarse and furious voice came from that lump of flesh. Suddenly the Holy Maiden's body began convulsing violently. That delicate body shook fiercely, like a sieve rattling with grain. It was as though some existence inside her was fleeing and struggling desperately. That beautiful face was filled with pain. Her red lips parted slightly, letting out a soundless wail. A grotesque ball of flesh burst out from her back. Its surface was covered with bluish-black veins. Those veins wriggled like worms. An eye emerged on the flesh ball. That eye was huge and cloudy, and its pupil was shaped like a heart. A terrifying will belonging to a higher existence cast its gaze toward the old man. Enough. You're already at the end of your strength anyway. I'll do it myself. That voice was filled with arrogance and a trace of impatience. The Holy Maiden's body began to fall apart, as if it had lost the force supporting it. Along with that, her body also began to wither and decay. That face, which had once been stunning enough to topple kingdoms, rapidly lost its radiance. Her skin became shriveled and wrinkled, like a withered flower. Her fair skin visibly turned gray, and dull at a speed the eye could see. Her full body gradually withered away. Those long beautiful legs became like dry branches. In a single instant, she seemed to age several decades. A series of sobs and hoarse roars came from Prang's mouth. His voice was full of pain and deep despair. "You bastard god of love! Even if I have to stake this old life of mine, I'll still protect the academy." A resolute light shone in his eyes. The last of his strength burst from his withered body. He was prepared to fight with his life on the line. Just as Professor Prang was about to risk everything, a sigh drifted through the air. That sigh was soft, yet it reached everyone's ears with perfect clarity. "Prang, you're still as stubborn as ever." That voice was crisp and ethereal, carrying a trace of helplessness and a trace of gentleness. With that, a fair little hand picked up the fallen staff. Those fingers were slender and pale, with rounded fingertips and nails as delicate as seashells. Under the moonlight, they gave off a soft glow. That familiar voice made Professor Prang suddenly lift his head. Those aged eyes widened completely. His pupils filled with shock and a trace of disbelief. Even the god of love revealed an expression of utter astonishment. That giant eye widened even further, its pupil full of fear. The white-haired girl slowly crouched down. Her movements were light and graceful. The hem of her pink nightdress spread across the ground, like a flower in bloom. Her ruby-like eyes shone exceptionally bright beneath the moonlight. Those eyes were clear and deep, like the starry sky, like an abyss. And behind her, two strange things were floating in midair. They were none other than Moen Campbell and Professor Grant.